Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, Aaron connects melodies and memories with fans and artists from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, only music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your host for the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, Aaron Shriver.
What's going on, guys? So glad there was a show this week. I hate when we have a week off. All right, let's see, get everything up and going, make sure we sound good. Everything sounding good? No? Huh? Okay. Let me fix this audio, guys. Let's see what's going on here. We always have some fun audio problems, you know.
You're echoey too, Facebook.
I'm echoing? Okay. We're going to try to get this fixed real quick, guys, before we start everything off. Am I still echoey?
I have a delay.
Yeah, let the delay catch up. We'll see. If you guys are in the chat, let me know if how it sounds on your end. We just want to make sure everything is adjusted, ready to go. And before we start off the show, yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be a good one tonight, guys. I'm excited. And I had a good one-liner all queued up tonight, too.
And the wife screwed it up.
You could still hit it.
I got button happy.
It was an oldie.
It was an oldie, but a goodie, I guess. Okay, you guys want to hear it?
Fun one
Okay.
tonight.
This is Tommy Chong, and you're listening to Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver. Kind of grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
I had to pull out the
That
chong
made,
for tonight.
that made you happy, didn't it?
Yeah, I always do.
Sorry about that.
All right, guys. All right, everything sound good on your end?
Yep, I think we're catching up. We're good now.
All right. We're recording. Cool. All right, guys. All right, welcome to season 4 of the Gaining Fast on Memphis podcast. Each week we connect melodies and memories with fans, artists, and passionate driven individuals in and around the music community. I'm your host, Aaron Shriver. Tonight we are presented by our good friends over at Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. You can find them over at arlorevolution.com, and our 2 on-screen sponsors, Art on a Higher Wire by Joel, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. You can find her all over Facebook, and then my good friend Corey Oliphant and the Original Church Choir. Awesome to have them every week just to be a sponsor and a supporter of the show. But we thank them and all of our sponsors for the continued support of the show. And once again, every week we talk about it. If you guys are looking for ways to support the show, check out our Patreon. Tiers start just at $1. If you're looking to advertise with us, we do have 2 on-screen sponsors still left. You can see your logo displayed today on screen and in our show notes. But yeah, Patreon is something you guys can't do. Like, share, review, and subscribe. I always push, if you're an Apple iPhone user, that 5-star review and subscribing over there. It's huge for us podcasters. We'll talk about it a little bit tonight. I'm sure we'll dabble a little bit into some podcast talk. But yeah, if you guys are iPhone users, try to hop over on that podcast app and give us a little 5-star review and help us get us back in that top 100, man. It's nice that we float in there with music interviews every week. But if you are listening to this back and it's on a streaming platform, join us every Tuesday night live. We are Wednesday this week because I know our guest tonight always has this Tuesday night Songwriters event. So we had to push it back one night. But yeah, let's see. All right, we got a couple exciting things to do tonight before we bring him on. Let's see. All right, guys. So we were just talking about Patreon, and we are going to draw our winner for this April. We were supposed to do it last week, but I know we were rescheduling our last week event or podcast. So, oh, thanks, Trisha. Yeah, she was put in the chat. I did actually. It was last December. I graduated from Southern New Hampshire University, and they finally had my online graduation this past Saturday. So it was kind of cool. To be able to take part of that. One of these days I might get up there and actually have a real graduation. It'd be kind of nice. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and pick our winner. We are adding, I said we were going to add something special to this one, but we are adding the black vinyl Heart Soul from Church. That will be included in the Randall King and the Revival giveaway. Let's go ahead and let's see. I cleared your camera completely off. I think that was the echo. So you're just going to have volume. You're not going to have camera.
And I put makeup on for this. I I'm just kidding.
Damn, I'm
We're
sorry.
good. We're good. You don't need to see my face.
I could probably bring it back, but I don't want to mess with it.
Yeah. Let's not press our luck today.
Don't pixel your.
All right. So our winner for Patreon giveaway for April.
Yeah.
It's a super cool package. Lots of stuff in it. Let's see. Sorry, I know the suspense is killing everybody, right? Oh, it's Miss Carrie Hyde.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. Congratulations, Miss Carrie. We'll get that out to you as soon as we can.
So, Carrie, we will reach out to you and I'll get all the good stuff, your sizes for the shirts, your address, all that good stuff. It'll be fun. Yeah. All right. We'll do that. And before we move on and welcome our guest tonight, I am going to give you our May giveaway. We are trying to reschedule it with Trey Lewis. But I want to do a Trey Lewis prize pack. So we are going to try to get him on in May, but tons of awesome, badass merch from Trey Lewis. But check this out. 2 T-shirts, 2 stickers, koozies. Check out our Patreon this month. Get involved. We will get them on. I promise you soon. We'll get it rescheduled and get them on. It's going to be a fun one too. But yeah, get on that. And if you are a private sponsor or hire, this is our May giveaway. And yeah, those hats look fire though. I'm going to pick one of those up. Definitely.
You say fire.
Yeah, they look awesome. I need a new hat. I need to mix things up every now and then. Are you making fun of my talk over here?
You make me feel old.
Fire,
like
I'm almost 40 here.
Feel old.
Talking about making me feel old.
I don't even know what that means.
All right. So this is gonna be a fun one, guys. I've been waiting to actually have this show for a while, but when I started putting everything together tonight, we were going to welcome in Matt Burrill. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. I hope the road dog, I call him, but the New Yorkers' love and passion for music brought him to Nashville just 3 years ago. Once he got to Nashville, his motivation and drive has brought him some of the best opportunities. I mean, just watching what he's kind of brought onto himself with all the hard work he has just been phenomenal. See this guy, just to see him work is just badass. So we're gonna go ahead and bring Matt in. All right, there we go. What's up, buddy?
What's up, dog? How you doing? That's a nice prize pack y'all got for May for this month, bro.
You like that? Yeah. So I would take a little bit of our Patreon funds and dip it back into some giveaways.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome. I'm very familiar with that merchandise. We sling that on the weekends. That's awesome. Thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate this.
Dude, I'm excited. You've been busy too, dude. I'm glad you had a night to actually free up for me, dude. So, yeah, I'm definitely calling you the road dog. We're gonna throw it back though, like I do with everybody, and I want to start, dude. Back when you were a kid, maybe running around in diapers or whatever you listening to. Like, what was your parents bringing you up on in New York, dude?
So, like a lot of kids my age, a lot of classic rock, but also a lot of country. My first concert was, I think it was the Tim McGraw and the Dance Hall Doctors record. It was back when he was like full party Tim McGraw, and he was doing like 3-hour shows by himself, no opener. I think I was in like the 2nd or 3rd grade the first time I experienced a country show.
You and I have something in common. We're both from a radio background, and I got into radio when that album hit. Like I have the book.
No way.
Dance Hall Doctor book he has autographed by Tim McGraw, like on my wall right back here. Because I went to like a private event he did in Chicago. That's funny.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I grew up listening to that first greatest hits album. I was rocking in the car seat in my grandma's Ford Windstar. Riding around in New York, listening to that. And then one of the first CDs I ever bought with my own money was Kenny Chesney's No Shoes, No Shirts, No Problems record. So definitely grew up with country, but also some rock. And you grew up in New York, so there's a little bit of hip hop in there. Gotta love the Jay-Z's and the Biggies and the people like that. It's very diverse up there in terms of music. So a little bit of everything.
For me, I've only been to New York once, so we're hoping to do that soon. I want to get back there, but New York I always had on a pedestal ever since I saw Garth Brooks in Central Park, dude. That VHS, when I had that VHS and I watched that whole thing, dude, that for me, I was like, dude, I gotta get to New York. I want to see this place. It was like Disneyland for me, like because I loved music growing up.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, obviously the music scene's taken a hit over the last year and a half, or last year. But it seems like it's starting to come back, but there's a lot of cool things to do up there and all that. So yeah, definitely worth checking out.
So going over the years, I mean, into high school, I'm sure you said a little bit of rock and everything. What for you made music stick? What made music so important for you? Was it kind of like a escape, or what made you want to go into radio? What made you want to be around music?
So if I'm being completely honest with you, I went to college wanting to be on ESPN. I wanted to go the sports media route. I was that kid in high school that was covering I was playing football, so I wasn't covering football, but like basketball, wrestling, lacrosse, hockey, baseball, softball. I was that guy doing the journalism stuff, doing on-camera interviews, writing articles, doing the sports blogs. And then I got into college and I made some friends and started going more to country concerts. And that was when I started drinking too. And it was a lot of fun. And for me, that was kind of one of the big draws, was just how fun it was to be on the radio side of music as opposed to the radio side of sports. You can cut loose a little bit more, get away with more on the music side than you can in the suit and tie stuff with sports, at least in my opinion.
So you got to tell me a little bit about Rider University, like radio and TV broadcasting you did. Was it an actual university? It was actually like a 2-year, 4-year degree?
Yeah, so it was a 4-year program. It's in Central Jersey, smack dab in the middle between New York City and Philly. So a lot of cool opportunities that were awesome. They had a TV studio there. They had a newspaper. So freshman year, I was doing stuff at the TV station. I was writing back page articles for the sports section, and then doing the radio show. And I was spending more time doing that than I was going to classes. I was doing what I had to do. I didn't flunk out, but definitely the hands-on experiences were great. And I wouldn't be here in Nashville if it weren't for Rider University and for the folks that I met there. And I got to give a shout out to John Moses. I don't know if he's watching or not, but he's the faculty advisor down there. He coached me up and got me going.
If I see him in the chat, I'll have to share his comment up there. If I see him out there. No, so I went to it was 2001, so I think you're probably like 6-7 years old.
Six years old. I'm 26. I'm a 95 baby.
There you go. I was 82, so got a little bit on you. But I went to radio TV broadcasting too. So we did a little bit of radio, the TV. We had a hip hop. It was like beonair.com. It was a hip hop station. It was kind of fun. And that's what really got me like into it, because when I got out of high school, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was like, what do I want to do with myself? And I loved music. And I was like, oh, radio would be fun. I just want to dig into radio. And I kind of got involved in a couple of like Chicago radio stations. And it's kind of what 20 years later led me to this, I guess.
Yeah.
Always goes back to it.
Most of us guys and girls that are in podcasting are radio survivors. I put it with the state of it. I know we'll talk about that a little bit later, but from where radio was then, even when I was doing it 4 or 5 years ago, to where it's at now, completely different world.
Oh yeah, I did. And that's why I kind of brought up on here, and actually we'll dig into it a little bit. Well, before we dig into that, we'll go in my order, I guess.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do, bro.
Radio.
You're steering the ship, bro. So I'm just along for the ride, homie.
I was listening to a couple of I always listen to other podcasts prep for these shows, and I was like, man, this guy and we're gonna go down a rabbit hole or two.
That's what I do, bro. I used to do like the breakdown sheet, and then I'm so ADHD, and we have some sponsors in the green world, so we get a little loopy from time to time, and shit just kind of goes wherever it goes. I'll
have to hook you up sometime. I got these things at work. They're called Genius Pills, and I don't know what's all in them. They're all natural, and they have a little THC in them. But dude, I'll tell you, I'll take these things. I'll surprise myself sometimes.
Whoa!
First time I took it is like before I interviewed Chong. I was like, dude, what the hell? It's like it's a really cool like high without the haze. So I'm like, all right. I'll have to try that sometime, but it gets you creative, and that's why I love it. And that's why I love what you're talking about the green. I love that because of the creativeness, and it helps my ADHD. Kind of calms it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
But so when you first got to Nashville, you went was it 2018? I think I read you were working with security, and something that kind of sparked my interest when I was looking into this. I'm a huge Tucker Bethard fan, and you worked Dogwood. Were you there the night that everything went down?
No. So quick little backstory. So I had never worked security a day in my life until I moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I had some buddies from Jersey that I had met through doing the college radio stuff that had convinced me. They used to bug me when they moved down here. They'd bug me once a week. Hey man, you got to get down here. Hey man, you got to get down here. For about a year. Then I finally went down and visited, ended up moving down there. And I worked at Dirks' place for a while. Then I got the gig with Gary and Charlie with Muscadine, going out on tour with them. So I didn't have to bounce as much. And then some of the guys from Whiskey Row went over to Dogwood when it opened. And so I was about as part-time as you could possibly get at Dogwood. Like, I still don't know some of the bartenders' names over there. I know who my bosses were, but I was not there that night. I was actually down in Birmingham, Alabama with the Muscadine boys that night. But I had buddies. One of my roommates at the time was actually there and was directly involved in trying to revive and basically being an EMT guy that night. And it was, I mean, it's just a tragic situation and unfortunate, very bad nightmare. And especially I love the Bethard family and big fans of what they do. And they're just great people. So
phenomenal, dude. The faith that they have. I mean, they restored my faith whenever I saw this. And that's why I'm being a huge Eric Church fan, like, and just a huge music fan. When I knew Casey was writing the Heart and Soul album, like 3 weeks after all this happened, I was like, dude, this is gonna be an intense album. But yeah, I saw the dates. I was like, I just had to ask you if you were connected or knew anything about that, because that was just a night that I saw Tucker like 3 or 4 days. He was in Chicago. And the reason I bring that up, and it kind of goes into like the next thing I want to talk to you. You said back when you started drinking, listening to country music, you don't drink anymore. You found sobriety. What is it, 2016, 2013?
May. I have it written on my arm so I don't forget. May 30th, 2016. So coming up in a few weeks, it'll be 5 years.
So I just recently found out that Tucker Bethard and I both quit drinking on the same day, 4 days before his brother was killed. And it was the weirdest thing. And we found out when we were at when we saw him in Tennessee. I didn't even know Tucker quit drinking. And he's like, oh, your last night was drinking in Chicago. And I still had the receipt. I was like, yeah, I was at your concert. He goes, that was the last night I ever drank. I was like, wait, what? Because we both hit like a little over 500 days.
Wow.
Like recently, I texted him. I was like, dude, it's 500 or something. And we were just joking about that. But it's like things that like that change and really make you like open your eyes and not really want to drink anymore. And different. Well, for you, what was it? What made you find your sobriety?
It was not being able to stop. And like at first I was very functional. I mean, I didn't drink at all growing up. My mom has epilepsy and my dad quit drinking when I was very young. So, and in high school, I actually used to go into middle schools and elementary schools and tell kids the dangers of drugs and alcohol. So I just wasn't introduced to it very young. 65 South Swag, we repping.
You're a dare kid, weren't you?
What was that?
I was gonna say you're a dare kid, weren't you?
It was a thing called VASA. It was Varsity Athletes Against Substance Abuse, and I was the first varsity football player we ever had do it because we like to party, and I would still go to the parties and stuff, but I'd be like the DD. But then I got into college, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I got myself in some rough situations, got in trouble doing some things, and then we had to quit, and it's been great. It saves me a lot of money, saves me a lot of headache, lots of headaches, both in mornings and just getting into stuff. And I definitely prefer the my other outlet that I have now, which is I think a lot more chill and safer.
I'm over here 20 minutes in the show. I'm like, I haven't showed a damn picture
yet. Geez. Talk about a throwback.
No
Jesus
pictures at all.
Christ.
I jumped into the show to start talking.
Nikki T told me you were going to do this. You were going to pull up old shit from the past.
I normally try to get like 30 or 40 pictures of people, or I just kind of random stuff that we just throw up and we'll talk about things.
That's funny.
Totally forgot about it, dude. I'm like, I was so excited just to start talking with you. I'm like, fuck, I didn't bring up any pictures.
a lot of my Nashville friends, any people that know. Oh wow, yeah, you're going. That's the drinking days right there.
Yeah, the first 10 was all throwback. But
yeah, that right there, I think I was definitely boozing. That was I want to say a Lee Bryce concert. So that's the thing for me. I was just a concert goer and was doing the college radio thing and just kind of hustling and grinding. You get it. You've done it. You're doing it. All
the shit behind me. And I mean, that's just me. I love music and I love just going to so many concerts. I just got in. And it was funny. My wife got me hooked on TikTok months ago, and we'll sit in the garage and watch TikToks and stuff here and there. But I found one tonight we were watching, and it was about like ADHD and drinking. And it was like in our head, like we were just like, oh, we don't want to drink, or this and that. But the minute someone's like, oh, here's a shot, we don't think. We're all, hey, we just turn it up. And I always noticed that with me whenever I was whenever I was out, I was like, well, I can't drink no more. But the minute somebody throws something in my face, it's like, oh, I'll do it. And that was always my problem. I didn't know when to slow down or when to stop. I would just keep going until I was just blacked out.
Were you on stuff when you were growing up? Not to get super. Oh wow, you're pulling up the 98.3 shit. Oh Lord.
No, I really.
Are you like a Ritalin or like an Adderall or any of that
Ritalin.
stuff?
I'm on. Well, see, they got me on Adderall now, but I was Ritalin when I was 15, 16.
Okay. See, I was Concerta, and I went through a few different things. Then from like fourth grade to like end of high school, I had the same pill. I used to tell people I'm on the pill. I didn't know what birth control was, so I'd be telling my buddies, "Hey, I'm on the pill today," and they'd be like, "What?" Oh, geez, the first flannel pick right there.
Yeah,
but I'm wondering if that has something to do with like our addictive personalities being on something. I think it definitely does. I haven't taken a Concerta 54 milligram tablet in years now, but I think that being in a routine and just the psychoactivity of that, I think definitely factored into where I'm at.
I quit. Like, I say I quit, but like probably when I was in high school, maybe when I left high school, I didn't take anything else for my ADHD at all. I just kind of just went with it. And it's funny because I used to smoke weed back in the day, and I liked it because I felt normal when I did it. But every time my dad found it, he would take it from me and be like, "Oh, not until you graduate." Da 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 da. And now that I work around it, and I work in a dispensary, and I talk about the medical effects of it, and I talk to people about ADHD and everything, I'm like, well, that's why I enjoyed it, because it made me feel me. I was more focused. I knew what was going on. And I still think, I mean, I don't know. It was up until about 2 years ago when they put me back on Adderall until now I just fidget with everything and I shake my leg a mile a minute.
Dude, same.
But I lost a bunch of weight, so I can't argue.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, you're looking good, bro. I like that shirt too.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's one of my favorite quotes. One good thing about music: when it hits you, you feel no pain, dude, because it's true. It's just
amen.
So true. And I think that's kind of what brought you into country music, dude. I mean, kind of getting into it and with the radio side and then into Nashville, working with Muscadine, but more importantly, now working with Trey and kind of sticking with the sobriety thing. Do you find it easier for you to stay sober with him because he's been sober for so long now too, and you guys are on the road? Because I would think being out in bars, like I'm just now starting to go. I've been going to Nashville once a month, hanging out in bars around people that are drinking, and I'm okay because like I have alternatives. I'll go outside for a few minutes or something like that. But if you were out on the road with, say, like an Eric Church that was drinking Jack Daniels every night, would it be different for you than what you're doing now?
I guess so. The Muscadine, so the going out with Gary and Charlie, very little. Not as much partying and drinking. When I joined up with them, they had kind of gone through their partying phase of playing that bar circuit and on their come up through the Southeast and hitting new markets. And they're married guys. Everybody in that band and crew has a significant other, and their motivation isn't the partying thing. So it was pretty easy being out with them. Being out with Trey's great, and I love it. It's definitely a rowdier experience than being out with Muscadine, and you wouldn't think it with Trey being how he is as far as, oh geez, old picture right there. Damn,
church. I had to pull up the church picture.
Yeah, you had to pull that up. That was in Pennsylvania. That was sick. I got that from being a college radio DJ. They hooked it up for us. That was sick. But yeah, I mean there's definitely more. I'm around it more now. And I was around it a lot when I worked in the bars, you know. I think that for me got me ready for being able to go out on the road with a country music artist and stay sober, was bouncing at bars in downtown Nashville and being around alcohol every night and people abusing alcohol every night and having to get them out of the bar. So it's good. And obviously, Trey's been in it a lot longer than I have. Trey, June 11th will be 14 years for Trey of continuous sobriety, no substances whatsoever. You know, we talked about it. I'm a fan of the green stuff. Trey don't even do that. Trey's completely, and he worked in a rehab facility and treatment center and all that. So being around him, it's nice to enjoy some non-alcoholic beers and some LaCroix. We're the LaCroix
You would never
boys.
picture that. I mean, when people hear Trey Lewis, they think of Dick Down Dallas and Party Song. They're like, oh, this guy's slam drinks.
Yep, and the show's wild too, and you can talk more about this with him when you get him on and stuff, but you'll see when we get up to y'all's neck of the woods and you experience a show. There's a point in the show where Trey kind of pulls it back and tells everybody his story, and it's very powerful and really cool.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be about, I think, 3-4 hours away in July. I'm like, that might be. If I gotta see if I can.
Which one?
West Wisconsin.
Okay, we have one. You're in Illinois, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll shoot you a message. I think we're coming up that way. We're doing a lot in the Midwest this summer.
Back dab in the middle of Chicago, Milwaukee.
Okay, yeah, we're
map at Chicago, Milwaukee. I'm right in the middle.
Yeah, some shows aren't announced yet, but they are confirmed, and we will probably be closer than 3 hours.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it because so many shows are opening up. And speaking of you being on the road with all these people, I want to talk about venues that stand out. Let's see.
Oh, geez, the Baywatch picture. My buddies back home used to ball bust over that.
So one of my favorite venues, I live really close to the Rave.
Bro, yes,
love this place. For you though, what's some venues other than? I mean, I'm sure we could talk about the Rave real quick too. What's some venues that have stuck out for you since you've been on the road with Muscadine, Trey? I know you did a lot of the South. I love Rick's Cafe in Starkville, Mississippi. I don't know if you've ever been there. That's like my all-time favorite bar.
Oh yeah.
But for you, if you know you're coming to a venue, you're like, oh hell yeah, I can't wait for that venue.
Yeah, so what's interesting for me is I'm a Northeastern guy. So I went to, when I was back in radio, I went to, I think, upwards of like 80 shows in 1 year. And that was throughout Jersey, Maine, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, Delaware. So I know all those venues, but then it's different going to a venue as a concert goer and then going as a merch seller or a tour manager. Some of my favorite that come to mind as far as like, yes, we have a show there. Some in the South that I love Iron City. Iron City, that's down in Birmingham, Alabama. And Zydeco, which is a smaller room, is really cool too. And maybe I'm biased because I've been with a lot of Alabama acts. So for them, it's a home. When Muscadine or Trey Lewis is in Alabama, it just hits different. Same with anywhere in Georgia, like the Georgia Theater, the Warehouse in Georgia, which is a brand new venue. Oh, geez, that's Chubby Matt back in the day before I moved down here. Damn. That was when I was doing radio and eating pizza on the air for a sponsorship. Yeah. Damn, that's thick Matt right there. But I love the Blue Stone.
That place is awesome. There's a head shop around the corner that says has a sign in the corner that says eye candy. And I have a picture, old school picture of me. I don't know what I'm doing, but right behind it says eye candy and just big neon. This is funny.
Yeah, and then there's some venues in Nashville that I love. Marathon Music Works was really cool. I also love out in Texas. Got to show love to we've spent a lot of time out in Texas recently. And out in Texas, one that was really cool. Doing Dick Down in Dallas was pretty freaking wild on a Wednesday night. For our first time in Dallas, that was pretty sick. Tumbleweeds in Stillwater, Oklahoma is really cool. And then probably the wildest show that we've had being out with Trey was in Martin, Tennessee, believe it or not. Oh, look at that one. Chubby Matt, Dave Hangley, Nashville, and pre-mullet Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, there ain't pre-mullets out there.
That's a pre-mullet picture right there. But yeah, there's a place in Martin, Tennessee called Slide and Ride that is wild. It is wild. And we went out there back in January with Trey. And I've been out there a couple times before, going out with other buddies that are coming up and help them out with selling merch or TMing for them early on when I first moved here. And then we'd done a show out there with Muscadine. But bro, like 1,200 people at a show in January in western middle of nowhere, BFE, Tennessee. The energy of Martin, Tennessee was probably my favorite of this tour that we've been on so far. And I got to give a shout out to one more, the Blue Room in Statesboro, Georgia, which is just a damn staple. Built-in crowd, some of the wildest stuff you will ever see in your life happens in Statesboro, Georgia. So holds a special place in my heart.
Dude, I think the only show I've really seen in Georgia, we went to, where's that? Wild Bill's in Atlanta. And that way was awesome. My wife and I, when we went there, she doesn't even remember, but New Year's Eve one year to see Eric Church, he played out there, and that was crazy. It's a huge place. But you mentioned Zydeco, dude. If you ever, I don't know if this guy's still out there touring, but there's a guy, he opened up for Church at Zydeco years ago named Hunter Lawler, I think his name was. He had a song called Homemade Porno. If you ever come across that, check that guy out. It's funny. He played.
Yeah, I might have to. If he was at Zydeco, then he probably is now.
Yeah, he was like the house band at Zydeco.
I'm sure we've got mutual friends, and Alicia in the comments might know him because she's or Trey Bonner, who's in here too.
Yeah, I'm still friends with him on Facebook. So I don't know if he still plays out there or not, but he was hilarious. But he'd always play at Zydeco. But this one song would stick out. I think we went out and saw him again somewhere, like in Alabama. He's just playing some bowling alley or something.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, speaking of like the different venues and stuff, but going into just like coming from radio and just being in radio, how do you think radio in general? I mean, because it's going into podcasting, I feel, and a lot of the streaming side. Do you think radio is? I kind of talked about shelf life today with Eric Church and albums, and on my Instagram. Do you think radio, like FM radio, has a shelf life? Because I think it's slowly fading. I
don't want to get myself in trouble here because we're live and streaming, and half of my Facebook page is people that work in radio because that's how I networked and how I tried to get to Nashville. Like what you do, where social media is such a tool to meet other radio people to try and get a job or to meet label people and all. I thought that was the way, and I thought radio is my ticket. I moved down here to get a part-time gig in radio. I was talking with 2 stations down here, and I was going to bounce during the week or bounce and then do events as a street teamer and then maybe do some voice tracking shifts. That was the plan of me moving down here because I was the swingman for a cluster in Central Jersey. With where I had a lot of airtime for a 23-year-old kid, 22-year-old kid, and it was going great. But now that I'm out of it and looking at it and seeing how many of my friends and how many people that were like big people in radio that are no longer in radio, and the fact that you only have like 10, 11 people that take up like 200 something stations, and the sales teams are smaller. The sales people aren't selling spots anymore. They're selling digital, like targeted device, like things like that. Like it's all so different. You got to enjoy radio, and it's like, hey, Dave, man, I'm jealous of you, bro. Because like the 90s, the early 2000s, bro. There's Tucker right there. That's dope.
When so it was like probably 2000, 2001 when I first started. I first got out of school, out of the radio school, and I was working for US 99 Country Station. It was the first gig I ever had. And I literally had to sit there. This is going to date everything. I mean, everything is funny with the phone book, Chicago phone book. And I would sit there with a touch phone, pick it up, had the cord on it, and I'd dial the number. And I'd call these people at dinner time, and be like, hey, what radio station you listen to? This is doing this market research, dude. And I would sit there and call these people. I'd have a goal. I'd have to call 100 people out of the phone book and get them to answer these 5 survey questions. And that was what I did for radio. And I started there and then got into a weekend gig with US 99 and went from there and worked out in Rockford, Illinois. It was fun, dude. But I found out that our pool construction and pool maintenance was going to pay more than radio was paying me.
Bro, it's a passion business, which what I'm doing right now is a passion business. And thankfully my passions led me to some really cool opportunities. That was probably the coolest thing I got to do at WMGQ. That's a cool freaking story right there if you want me to tell it.
That's Baywatch and Chris Gaines? No.
Right? Yeah, Chris Gaines just got a haircut.
Yeah. But share that story. Before you share that story, just speaking of radio, like my ex co-producer, he just left to go to Texas and take a gig at a small radio station in a small town in Texas. He moved from Wisconsin all the way. He moved his wife, everything, his whole house, and to this town he doesn't even know. And just because he's passionate and loves radio.
I almost took a job out in a random town. I forget what town it was, like Minnesota or something. And I'm sure you've contemplated that too over the years.
I remember my ex and I, we traveled down to Huntsville, Alabama for a radio interview before I was working in US 99 for Chicago radio. And I'm like, oh, I gotta get on this morning shift on in Huntsville. I was like, I'm gonna go take this. And the guy's like, well, if you drive down here, I'll interview right now. And I just couldn't do it for what he wanted.
Yeah,
So
that's just it. It is. I've made more like radio. I mean, I can tell you all kinds of stuff. We'll talk about Garth here for a second.
go ahead.
So growing up, big country music fan, as I was talking about earlier. Another early record that I listened to was the Garth Double Live album. Back in the day, riding around my dad's car. Oh, geez, Goldberg, God. Damn, you found them all, man.
I got
Wow.
some good ones, yeah.
Yeah, you do some really good research. Damn. Nikki T wasn't kidding. But so I had just gotten brought on. I think I might have still been interning. I was like just in that position of like getting out of the internship and like getting brought on as a super part-time promotions worker. And they knew that I did stuff at my college station. I was student GM there. I used to do radio advertising. I used to do the promo events, all that. So they knew I was a big country music fan. So they had it was going to be a press conference for the Garth Live at Yankee Stadium show when he did those shows. And we got asked to go and cover it. Like we got granted media stuff. Our PD, our APD, all the hosts, anybody that could have done it passed on it. They didn't want to go and do it. They offered it to me and I was like, sick. That'd be awesome. I'd love to do it. So they paid for me to take a train. Oh, geez. Everett, baby. Love those guys. They put me on a train, sent me to Yankee Stadium. I had done some interviews, but never like this magnitude. I didn't even know if I was going to like get to interview. I thought I was just going to be there, record on my phone. Not the old recorders y'all used to use back in the day, but the phone. And I was just gonna hear Garth say a couple things and then send it back to the station for like the news segment. But it ended up being where I got to do an interview with him on video, and then the radio station shared it. And he was a super nice guy, and I got to meet some cool people that I haven't been in touch with in a while, but other media people that I had like looked up to in the New York scene and all that. And then I actually got to do it a second time. Oh boy, Ryan Nelson. I got to do it a second time at the Prudential Center in New Jersey, and Garth said, "Good to see you." And I was like, this guy's either just bullshitting or he has that good of a memory. And he was the nicest guy. I've had two great encounters with him, and I got to see him twice. So I got to see him at the Yankee Stadium show and at the Prudential Center, and some of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there's a reason he's one of the GOATs, you know?
Yeah. Phenomenal, dude. I've seen him once. I haven't got to meet him yet, but the one time we saw him, my wife and I, we went with our my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and we went to opening night of when he did like the 6 nights of Chicago when he first came back out. And so you're aware of like how he blocks off the front row type thing.
Yeah.
And we're walking around the upstairs. This is our first date night after our first kid was born. And it's probably like 4 months after Jackson, I think 3 months after Jackson. And this lady, I'm actually friends with her on Facebook. She's a writer for CMT in Chicago, walks up to us and is like, how would you guys like to see Garth from the front row? We're like, wait, what? And my wife starts bawling. I'm like, I get mad because like you're screwing with us. I'm like, you're not even. She's like, no, here's your tickets, and totally got to see front row Garth. And dude, that was the night the minute he came out, I took one picture of him. I took a picture of my tickets and put my phone away, and nothing. I just watched the whole show.
Bro, it's like a religious experience. I've never heard. I mean, you're a big Eric Church guy. I don't even know how many Eric Church. I'm sure you're very prevalent in the church choir.
Yeah.
But church has similar shows, but there's something about seeing a guy or a girl where everybody, where there's thousands of people. Like I was at Yankee Stadium. That place for a ball game holds like 50,000, like up around that level. And and everybody knowing the words to every single song. And Garth to just be running around. I mean, I always wondered why he didn't hold the microphone, but then you see him live and you get it. It's so you can move around more. Yeah.
Everybody's like, okay, do 6 shows in 3 days or whatever. I'm like, because he doesn't sing half the damn show. I'm like, the crowd does.
Yeah, man. You get
a break.
Yeah, he just runs around, and he's an incredible dude, and thankful for the opportunities to have met him. Oh, there's Gary and Charlie. Hell yeah, that was at the rave actually. We played the small room there, so there's like how many? Is it what? It's what, like
you got
4
the
or 5
bottom
rooms?
you got the bottom of the club. I think there's like 5 stages altogether.
Yeah.
You got the ballroom, the club.
Because so there was like the bottom where it looked like a bowling alley, and then like the basement, like the Mac Miller pool's under there.
Yeah.
Then you go up and there's like the bigger room where like the Cadillac 3 and people like that'll play. We were in that little side bar room.
Yeah.
There were a couple hundred people in there. It was cool. And then upstairs, bro, there was like an EDM show going on, like Galantis or something. And dude, we were loading out, and you could just see kids like puking out the window. It was wild.
I think I've shared this story on the show before, but whatever. And she started laughing the minute you said this. So my wife and I, we went to the rave one night. It was Halloween. And first off, Halloween, Milwaukee, and the rave. No, it was, I got the picture. I found the picture the other day. It was October 30th, the night before. We were going to see Lee Brice. And I'm good friends with Lewis. So Lewis hooked us up. And we're on the way up there, and we got into a fight about something. I don't know what we were bickering and arguing about. She goes, I'm staying in the car. I'm not going in. Screw this. I'm not going to this concert. And we turn the corner. There's all these people in plaid and flannel and whatever else. And all of a sudden, I see this guy with this big old pumpkin head walk by. I'm like, what the? I know, all this face paint. And I'm like, dude, this has to be an ICP show. And I look at my wife. I was like, still staying in the car. She's like, hell no. She gets out with me. The minute we turned, ICP was in the ballroom.
Oh, Lord.
And Lee Brice was in the club or whatever. So the minute we turned the corner and we saw all these ICP people, she's like, yeah, I'm not going in. I'm going in with you. I'm not staying here.
Bro, that's hilarious.
Cool, so I was still smoking cigarettes back then. And we went upstairs to have that penthouse at the top. And I stopped to watch a few of the songs from ICP, and they were pretty damn good, dude. I was like, I'd probably go and see a show because I like shows, man. I like entertainment. So they were wild.
I'm sure they were, bro. That's awesome.
So speaking of like Muscadine and Trey and everything else, and about with radio and the streaming, do you think independent artists are going to be more of a thing of the future with the streams than having labels?
Yeah, if you're just trying to get me to say some stuff to get me in trouble,
I gotta
put me on the spot.
You're still a tour manager. You're not just a podcaster too.
I got friends who work on Music Row, and I got friends who won't be caught dead on Music Row. You know, and both are successful. I just think it's a lot more user friendly, and there's ways if you operate your business and you can be the CEO of your business, and you don't got to give up slices of your pizza pie anymore, because part of the reason you were giving up the slices of your pizza pie was for all these things you couldn't do. You didn't have access to. Exactly. Now we have access to it. And if you're willing to grind, and it's a grind, if you're willing to grind, because seeing how Gary and Charlie operate, I mean, they work as hard as anybody, and they're incredible. They're incredibly, oh geez, CTC baby, talk radio street team. What you know about that?
Yeah, right. I didn't know AM. I was good on AM.
That's funny. But those guys, they're the way that they conduct it as a business, and they have an incredible business model, and they have such a passionate fan base as a result of it, you know, and the way that they've grown. I mean, I remember going to Joe's on Weed in Chicago with them, and they packed that place out, and not a single drop of radio play, not a single drop of like they had gone through and done the market, played the market a few times before, but they had never without any radio play, and they're worth more tickets than a lot of these label acts that you see. People that like artists that are getting money pumped into them left and right, and you got an independent act from Lower Alabama doing what they want to do, not having to answer to anybody, selling more tickets, you know. And we see it right now with being out. I mean, first I mean, I met Trey in July of last year playing pickup kickball games at Belmont with a bunch of other mutual friends, and I found out he didn't drink. He found out I didn't drink, and we'd be the guys at the parties afterwards drinking LaCroix or drinking Heineken Zeros, which are awesome, by the way. We love us some Heineken Zeros and O'Doul's and all that stuff, and all that. But to answer your question, because I get down rabbit holes, as you know. Oh, look at that, the OG. I think that's one of the first in the round lineups right there. That's wild. I mean, there's pros and cons to both, but I don't think radio's as much of like a need as it used to be. And because of that, but at the same time, labels are involved with playlisting, you know, and there's gatekeepers at radio, there's gatekeepers at streaming, you know, so there's advantages and disadvantages to both. But if you're able to do it and not have to ask somebody, what can I do here? What am I allowed to do here? If you're able to do it yourself and be the CEO of your own business, I think that's pretty cool.
And like you're saying, there's way more, it's easier to do it now. And there's more outlets. You can reach people like Trey. I mean, he blew up on TikTok. You have different Priscilla Block, where my wife and I were showing her videos of her earlier today, and she blew up on TikTok.
She's such a sweetheart, by the way. We love Priscilla. Our camp and her camp are very close, and she's awesome. And she's exactly what you see is what you get. Like that's Priscilla.
I think we were watching the beach video where she was on the sand on the beach.
Yep. Yeah, she's awesome. They're really, really cool. Big fans of what Pris is doing, and that EP is fire. But that just shows you too, coming out of the TikTok stuff, you got Priscilla who went that route, you got Trey who hasn't gone that route, and everybody's kind of winning right now, which is what's really cool too, you know?
Yeah, dude, and everybody's doing good. And that's why when I look at it, like I look at people like we talk about Tucker a little bit and how he pretty much went broke to get out of Big Machine. Like somebody asked him in an interview once, they looked at his liner notes and they're like, dude, you played drums, you played guitar, like, you played every damn instrument on this album. We're like, why? He goes, I'm so damn broke, I can't afford to hire anybody. And he goes, and I think it was his self-titled EP or whatever that he put out after he left Big Machine, and because he had to buy himself out of his contract. And I'm like, that almost scares people. Or when I look at it, it would scare an artist. Like, damn, do I really want to get into this? Seeing how they do other people too at times. And that's why I look at how people are successful now on the independent circuit. And how you're saying they could still come to places like Joe's on Weed and sell out like
because the thing is, labels don't get you in the venues, and the way you can win, if you can win over fans by, and Trey TL says it every night that we're out there. The goal is to take fans of DDID and make them Trey Lewis fans, and that's his goal. He's been playing music for 10 years, you know.
And Nicky T said it best. Like he went from doing the 4-hour cover sets to 90 minutes sold out of his own music, and it's phenomenal. And because of that one song, but people are. Like, what did Trey say? You come in you leave a Trey Lewis fan. I love that, dude.
Bro, the wildest moment that I remember. I mean, that first weekend when the song first came out in Statesboro, Georgia. Oh, that's a cool picture. That's probably what I'm most proud of. The interview. There's 3, I guess 4 interviews that I'm very proud of doing when I was in college. I guess 5 if you count Garth. Having Luke Combs on was super cool. We had him on my college radio show because you got to think the time span was 2013 to 2017. So you had all these guys and girls coming up that were looking to talk to anybody, you know, like they would talk to a 7-watt college radio station in central New Jersey because they weren't getting love anywhere yet. We had Luke, we had Morgan, we had John Party. And then we had Brett Young and Walker Hayes when they were really first starting out, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy to see. And Luke just took off, but it's crazy to see like how these guys came up. I remember going to shows in North Carolina, and Luke Combs was in the same crowd of Eric Church shows with me. And so just wild. Like a good friend of mine, like he saw a picture of him and Luke Combs side by side at front row at Eric Church show. I'm like, it just blows your mind. I mean, how people are, but at the end of the day, we're always still fans. So, and that's something that I kind of want to lead into, like you being a fan of everything when working in the industry. Is it hard for you to kind of juggle the two?
I take in my music, and we listen to it a lot on the road. We listen to New Music Friday every Friday. Trey's like New Music Friday, and that sign, that's funny. That's Martin, Tennessee, bro. That's next to Slide and Ride that I was telling you about earlier. That's the store next door to it. They got busted for selling like exotic animals out of the back a couple of years ago. They are wild in there. It's a dude like in his 70s that's just been there forever. And it's a place where you find bongs and dongs. That's Martin, Tennessee in a damn nutshell, baby. But we love Martin, Tennessee. Sorry, Pookie. But yeah, like being a fan, and now it's a little bit tough for me. Like being a merch guy, I think you can still be the fan and stuff. Yeah. But now that I'm starting to learn and take on a bigger role, I'm understanding that it is a business. And it's also too, I'm kind of not as much of a fan as I used to be because now I live in Nashville. So like you're around people at Red Door, at Live Oak, at Winners, at Losers, at XYZ bar.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be freaking Gurming them and mobbing them and doing what the tourists are doing. There's a reason that folks go to Midtown and don't go to Broadway because they don't want to deal with the super fans and all that kind of stuff. So it is a bit of a balance and stuff, but I definitely would say I'm definitely a little bit further away, but I still love music. Like I get to watch concerts every night. I man the merch table from the time the doors open to the time we leave. I'm at the merch table. So I get to watch the show every night.
Don't ever bite anybody. Don't ever bite anybody from the merch table. So I could tell you horror stories. We could sit here and talk one day, but I have literally, there was an incident once and Eric Church's old merch guy bit somebody.
He bit somebody?
He bit a fan, like went over the table and bit the dude.
Jesus. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
He got fired the same night. But yeah.
Yeah,
literally
I would not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't bite anybody. I have had people because when I first started with Gary and Chuck, I was still bouncing on Broadway, so I'd see shit going on in the crowd and be like, "Oh shit, where do I gotta go? Where do I gotta go? Like, where's my radio? Where do I gotta go? Like, hands on, code this, code that." And it was a little tough doing that and stuff. Only thing that's happened to me recently was that some of the early shows, being out with Trey, I had people throwing drinks at me at the merch table, and I got pelted, which that was a little tough being a sober guy, but I just was like, these kids are excited. It's that was Statesboro, Georgia, by the way.
At least it wasn't next to the other place. They didn't go buy a bunch of dongs and start throwing them at you.
Oh, dude, me and Alex Maxwell went in there before that show at Slide and Ride, and Trey sometimes will have our like openers and friends if they're at the shows come up and sing Friends in Low Places towards the end of the show. And Alex Maxwell was up there, and he handed him, like as they were getting ready to play Dick Down in Dallas, he handed him the dildo, this big purple dildo, and Trey like looked at it and then chucked it out into the crowd.
That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's funny. I'm like, you go to church shows, they hold up boots. I mean, you're gonna start going to Trey Lewis. You're gonna start seeing all these
bro. You see. Oh, we could talk more after this stops being off the air. We could talk a ton about that shit.
Just being in bars like the last month or two, and whenever or just being in Live Oak when I go and see these Raised Rowdy songwriter events, and the minute Dick Down in Dallas comes on the radio or over the loudspeaker, dude, and just see the reaction and everything in the crowd it's cool, dude. Just because damn, that song just took him from his career just to new levels. But now people are really, like we were talking before, knowing who he is. So I kind of proud of it in a way.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Yeah, man. The other songs are getting a lot of streams. I see Randy Adams in here in the comments.
Yeah.
We've and I saw you shared this the live link in the Believers group, which is something that we had created and stuff. And Randy's a guy that's we view him kind of now as like a day one, we've seen him at probably 3 or 4 shows since December, which is awesome. And yeah, dude, it's cool to see all the other streams going up. People singing back other songs as opposed to just Dick Down in Dallas, which is pretty awesome.
Was it Little Tired? That's my jam,
dude. So when I first met Trey, so you showed it earlier. I've got my sobriety date tattooed right here. When I first met Trey, we used to sit around campfires which was the first time I heard Dick Down in Dallas. I actually heard Matt McKinney play it first. One of the writers on there with Drew Trusclair, Brent Gafford. And Trey had played, everybody would just play their songs. And so it'd be like Trey, Dawson Edwards, Alex Maxwell, Ella Langley, Dylan Marlowe, Joy Beth Taylor, Brian Frazier, Cody Parks, Nick Haynes, our whole friend group, Todd Williams Jr. Sorry if I'm forgetting people, but our whole crew, we play kickball, then go. One of the first Trey Lewis songs I ever heard was Little Tired. And I was like, the line that says, I ain't drinking no more bourbon, but there's demons on the shelf. When I first met Trey, I told him, bro, I'm going to get my sobriety day here. I'm going to get those lyrics underneath here. And I still might, but it's kind of weird now being on his payroll, having lyrics to the guy that signs your paychecks, who you're with all the time. Having his lyrics on your arm is a little weird, but that song hit so hard for me when I first heard it. Still does to this day.
I think it was the first I heard. I mean, I was kind of heard a few songs or I heard a Trey, but when I heard Dick Down in Dallas, I'm like, I got to dig into this guy a little more. And Little Tired was the first one I heard. I was like, holy shit. I was just blown away, dude. But so quickly, not quickly, but you're in the Round podcast. What got you started? I know we're running late. We went down rabbit holes like always, but
bro, it happens, bro. Wait till we're in the flesh here in Nashville sometime. It's gonna be dangerous.
We keep missing each other every time I'm down and everything else. I'll be back soon though. But what really got you, other than being a radio kid almost, what wanted you to start the In the Round podcast and then lead into a songwriters round too?
So doing the podcast was so I could keep talking in the microphones like this because I loved it, and radio wasn't going to give me that opportunity because radio isn't taking applications. They haven't for a few years now. And it's hard to get in, especially when you only have a few years experience. If you're a 23-year-old trying to make a career in radio where you don't really know anybody and you're young, it's very hard to do. So I was like, oh, we'll start doing the podcast. And I had met a guy named Tyler Lassard. We called him Boudreaux. And him and he was a sound guy and songwriter, went to college here, great guitar player. And he actually is the production manager for Muscadine. And he's the guy who got me that gig through us being buddies and doing the podcast together. And we met up one night, grabbed dinner. There he is. Look at him in the what is it, tombstone cap over there. And
your head,
dude, pizza, cigar, robe, Yankee hat. Sign me up. I'm in. But yeah, so we had talked about doing a podcast, and we were having chips and queso at Las Palmas on 8th Avenue here in Nashville, and we decided to do it. And he helped me figure out what gear we needed and all that. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was wanting to talk to the songwriters because now it's kind of cool and people are really into the songwriting thing. And like, there's songwriting, like, it's funny because people used to be like, oh, you'll love it's more fun. Like people would always say, I enjoy working with songwriters more than artists because they don't have egos. It's changed a little bit now, like you have songwriters are definitely more in the limelight. Social media helps with that. Yeah. But at that time in 2018, going into 2019, I was like, there's all these writers out here. There's these people grinding in Nashville. I want the world to know about these people. I think they're dope people. I have questions for them, mm-hmm. And I think doing a podcast would be a great way to do it. And that's how that all started. The first few episodes, audio quality's definitely gotten better over the years, as I'm sure you understand being a podcast guy. You got to build up your gear just like anything else.
I finally broke down and bought the Rode Podcaster board. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm buying one. I'm enough to use this.
I'm a Focusrite guy, and that's all thanks to Tyler. He got me onto that with like the little knobs, and then I'm actually breaking out. This is what we're using tonight. This blue USB mic, which I've never used in my life.
Yeah. Those are awesome.
Yeah, dude, I bought it for using for podcasting, and then Tyler was like, no, we're gonna get this, and he bought all these SM7Bs and all this shit because he could write it off and take it out on the road with Gary and Charlie. So, as a sound guy, it's a write-off. But anyway, so yeah, that's how we got it started, and we just dropped episode 69, and it's going. Charlie Sasser talking shit down there. Oof. Fantasy baseball. We got so in the Muscadine group, there's a fantasy. The group is called the Vines. Like I said, Muscadine has the most. It ain't the church choir, but for the independent level, I would say, and for they have probably the most passionate fan base that I've been around that I've seen. These people love them, and it's family. They're not fans; they're family and they're friends. So we made a fantasy baseball league this year. So Charlie's talking some smack because my team ain't doing so hot.
That's awesome, though. That's cool. I thought the church choir has some damn good fans too, and that was up until what was that? The awards just not too long ago when Wallen's fans going by all those damn billboards. I was like,
right, yeah, that's pretty awesome. But you know what? We can all agree on. The country music fans are the best fans out there. Back in the day, it was probably rock, but in today's day and era, I'll put an army of country music fans up against anyone as far as music goes,
I agree, dude. I mean, they come the family feel of when you get into like the church choir, the Vines, all of them. Just I've kind of like been a part of all these different fan clubs, and it's cool the way you feel like as everybody, you're all family, and then when you look at it, you're like, holy shit, wait, you're in that club. when you're in that group, it's all your friends from other different clubs too, like from like the church choir. Like I'll see them running around with like Ashley McBride's tribe group, and I was like, all right, cool. Everybody, we all follow the same artist, so it's always cool that we run in the same circles.
Yeah, man, that's how we became friends, was over the internet. You know, that's how I met Nicky T, and I call him Uncle Nick. I guess now you're Uncle Aaron. You know, you guys being my country music family that I met on the internet. But it's so cool. Music is so powerful and great for all that kind of stuff. But yeah, get back to the writers rounds and stuff. Sorry, I'm taking you so off topic.
Well, we're all good. I mean,
I know you're a show notes guy, so I'm sorry.
We're already through all the notes, so we're good.
All right, I love to hear.
I got all that crossed off already, so we're good.
That's good. We did it. Mission accomplished. But with the writers rounds, we had actually done. It's funny. Nicky T's actually involved in this. So the first time I met Nicky T in the flesh was CMA Fest. The Vines Are Great, Darcy. That's awesome. The first time I met Nicky T was CMA Fest of 2019. So it was right before I started working for Muscadine. And I went over to Live Oak to check out I was working on Broadway. We got off work and went over to the Raised Rowdy, like they had done like a CMA event at Live Oak. And Live Oak had like Why Not going on there. Dirty Thursdays was going on with Cody Parks. Sunday School with Grady Saxman was going on. But they just kind of, it was in a, like Live Oak had just become a thing. It used to be called Frisky Frogs, and Hasten and Dave and Maggie, who are actually Illinois folks, funny enough. And so I was hanging out with Nicky T, and I just brought a bunch of friends with me, and everybody kind of hopped up and started playing. It was like a post-show shit show kind of, you know. We had all kinds of different writers and people popping up there, and we were just having a good time. And then Hasten had hit me up. It actually hit up my buddy Ethan Willis. Had hit Ethan up about doing a writers round or something like that, wanting to put one together. And Ethan was like, "Yeah, I'm down. I just don't know what I would call it." And then Ethan had reached out to me, and Hasten had reached out to me, and he was like, "Well, you got a podcast. Why not just put the podcast name on the writers round?"
Yeah, dude.
And Ethan had booked the initial like one or two and stuff. And then he was focusing more on music and had a lot of stuff going on and whatever. So me and Tyler really started running with it, and it's turned into a monster, bro. And I don't want to sound cocky when I say that, but like it's gotten bigger than I ever thought it would be. And our phones, my phone just blows up with people wanting to play it, and which is really cool, because I remember when there were times I couldn't get anyone to play it, you know.
Right.
They were like, "I don't want to come here. I want to go here. I want to go there." Like, but now people want to come to Live Oak on Tuesday nights. And for me, most importantly, they want to come to Demumbrian on Tuesday nights, because I love what Rob and Vinny and Chris and the whole crew at Revival do. I'm a big fan of the Tin Roof Revival. And that was a big thing for me coming into town. My first time at Revival was She Got the Best of Me had just gone #1. And it was the first Tuesday I was in town, and Rob Snyder and Channing Wilson were playing, and then Luke hopped up, and all three of them were on the bench. I'm glad the bench didn't snap in half. You know, those are some big boys, and they made a point to say that night, so that's why I'm saying it.
Hell yeah, dude!
I was like, damn, this is a writers round. This is fucking cool. And we've been doing them since fall of 2019, and 2020, man, we found a way to keep doing them. I'm sure you saw that. Everybody else was a little hesitant, and rightfully so. There was a global pandemic going on. I had COVID at one point in time. It was tough times for everybody, but we found a way to still do rounds and still do solid rounds and keep people together and keep the music going. And and I'm grateful for Live Oak, because we were in the trenches with them when it was tough. Like it was a very tough time to be a bar owner anywhere, but let alone the bar city of America, Nashville, Tennessee. Nobody
gets married. No bachelorette parties down there, man.
Bro, no bachelorette parties. What was cool is that it was all locals. It was kind of cool. And it's funny because
normal for a little bit.
Yeah, well, it got to be like the Nashville that I'd never seen, because I'm a transplant. There's so few people that are Nashville natives that we call them unicorns, because they're so rare. Like I know a handful of folks that are born and raised here, and it's great. But almost everybody I know is from somewhere else. You know.
Did you? Oh, you got in there with 2018. So you missed Fiddle and Steel in Perner's Alley. That was always my hangout, dude. That bar was badass.
Yeah, and honestly, my first like 5-6 months, I was just on Broadway all the time because that's the world that I knew. I moved down here October 25th. Was I don't even know what freaking day of the week it was, but the next, like a day or two later, I was just hanging out at Whiskey Row. I was potentially going to work there. Somebody called out and I just happened to be on the rooftop, and I was enjoying a nice little pen. I was chilling, and they were like, "Hey, if you want this job, we need you tonight." It was like the Friday or Saturday of Halloween weekend. I had never bounced a day in my life. And they handed me a polo, handed me a walkie-talkie, and were like, "If you need anything, holler." And they put me on the 3rd level where the bathrooms are. And I saw some shit. It was crazy. But that my life was just bouncing and just the party while being sober, which I'm pretty proud of. Being sober from alcohol. Trey always likes to give me shit because I'm not fully sober, but I'm like, screw you, man.
You aren't in the same boat, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, it kind of helped me get off alcohol in a way. So I got my medical card here in Illinois, and we had these packets, these little THC packets, are like 25 milligrams or whatever. And when I went out to the bars or anything else with my buddies, they would get their drinks. I would just get water, like a cup of water, pour that pack in there, mix it around. I'd still have a drink in my hand, walking around, but I wouldn't be getting drunk or anything else. It wouldn't be alcohol. I'd just have a nice little buzz. And it really helped me get off alcohol and just stop drinking. Now I could care less to ever drink again.
Yeah, we've got some Delta 8 products like that. We're gonna have to exchange some.
I was giving you shit on the Delta 8, but it's good stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna have to exchange some products when you come down next, or whenever we're up by you, which will probably be around this summer. But yeah, man, Printer's Alley's cool. I've only been down there a handful of times, but I remember doing, it would be like 5-6 days a week. I lived like an hour south of town. I lived in an area called Spring Hill. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to live there, because an hour away is a lot closer than 14 hours away, which is how I looked at it. And I would drive up and down 65 and get off work at 3 a.m. and sometimes go other places. And it was wild being on Broadway. And it's like, each Nashville's got a few different scenes in it. There's the music scene. There's because people say industry nights. And I was like, oh, cool, music industry. And they're like, no, bar industry nights. And there's a whole section of all that stuff. And we kind of like run on our own time here, like I know there's a gas issue right now, but I don't know like what's causing it, and what like current events I don't see as much or know as much about, because there's so much going on here. I'm in like a little bubble.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, everybody gets in those little bubbles. I think 2020 definitely was a big bubble that we could all get into.
Yeah. No, but I mean like a music bubble where like I'm not into the politics. You're not into the politics and all the bullshit going on, because you're so focused on what's going on. You're going and watching this guy or girl play. Oh, this person's got a song. Oh, this guy might get a cut here. Oh, you got a meeting with this person. You're in your own little world, and we didn't have that in 2020.
I like being in the music bubble. I don't even watch TV.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Music bubble is music bubble and sports bubble. Those are my bubbles.
See, I got to get it back, but I lost interest in sports during 2020. And I don't know why, but I think when I turned on I'm a diehard Cubs fan. And when I turned on a Cubs game and I saw like empty crowds, or they were like piping in audience and stuff, I lost interest last year. I got to get it back. I will. Once I go to a game.
For me, it's back just because I'm a diehard Yankees fan, and I'm very vocal about that. Like I love the New York Yankees. I've actually been to Wrigley once.
Nice, dude.
I was in like second or third grade. It was while Sammy Sosa was serving his cork suspension.
Oh man.
And everybody was chanting Corky, Corky. And there were like t-shirts with Sammy Sosa with like it was back with like moist. That was the year you guys got robbed.
Yeah, the Bartman year.
Yeah, that was the Bartman year.
Yeah, the good old Bartman years.
And for us, it was the Aaron Boone year where we played the Marlins. How epic would a Yankees-Cubs World Series have been?
Dude, that would have been phenomenal. We were hoping for that. I would have loved it. We got swept by Marlins then after that whole thing happened. They won like the next 4. I think we were up 3-0 in the series. And they won 4 in a row and knocked us right out. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's so everybody still talks about that a little bit here, but it's cool. Like, I don't know if you ever heard about that, but Harry Carey's restaurant bought that baseball. They blew it up and they put the little pieces in spaghetti. No, listen to this shit, dude. They put the little pieces in spaghetti and they sold it, and you could go there and eat the ball. Dude,
y'all are another level. Chicago.
I don't know. I didn't eat nothing. I didn't eat no balls. That's for sure.
God damn.
I'm gonna use that for a soundbite.
Hey, that's a soundbite right
Yeah,
there.
right.
I approve 110%.
So
so I guess we've avoided it so far, but who's got the better pizza, bro?
oh yeah, I didn't even thought about that.
Y'all's pizza's like lasagna.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta get the right one. Have you ever heard of Lou Malnati's?
What's close to Joe's on Weed? Because when I was up there with Gary and Charlie, they fed us.
Yeah, it had to be Lou's, probably.
It was good. It was really
Oh yeah,
good.
you're right. I bet you Giordano's. Giordano's.
Giordano's?
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
Or that's by Joe's. Next time you come in town, I'll make sure you get some good stuff. I like
I'm so
man.
down.
I like the Brooklyn style where you have to fold it in half and you bolt it like this, a little grease runs out. I like that, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Next time you come to Nashville, have you been to Little Chicago in Nashville?
Is that the one on? What's the one on Debumbarium next in between?
Yeah, that's Little Chicago.
They pissed me off when I was there.
They pissed you off?
But they were good, but they pissed me off. But they were good.
Man.
No, I ordered it Uber Eats. I didn't know we were across the street. We stayed at that little shit hotel, the Days, or whatever that hotel is right on the corner there.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Oh, dude, I'll never stay there again. It's Cockroach City. And like Uber Eats said it would be like 15 minutes, and this was like an hour and 15 minutes. And then like I went to go smoke and went around the corner. I'm like, oh shit, it's right there. I could just walked over there and got it. I didn't even know it was right across the street.
Yeah. So if you want to get some New York style, two places I swear by. They're over on my side of town, in Hermitage. Sal's and Salvo's. And next time you and your wife are in town, we're gonna get some pizza, we're gonna get some cannolis. They even got Zeppelis, bro. It's the closest thing to like back home that I have found down here. Because Southerners don't do pizza. I know there's a lot of Southerners in this chat right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're gonna take this as talking shit. I love the South. I do. Y'all do barbecue great. Your fast food is superb. Your women are superb. The Southern hospitality is real. Italian food and pizza and bagels, just no, it doesn't. There's a reason I drive back to New York usually. It's so I can fit bagels and pizza in my car because I can't get this shit down here,
We lived in Mississippi for 5 years, so we definitely knew about that Southern.
Where in Mississippi do you live?
North of Tupelo, Corinth, Mississippi.
Okay, yeah, I've definitely driven through it. There ain't a whole lot in Mississippi. I like Hattiesburg and like you said, Rick's.
Yeah, dude, Rick's was seeing Church at Rick's back in the day was some of the best.
I saw Eric Church at Rick's Cafe.
Like 2 or 3 times. I'll send you some videos I have on my phone. I saw Zach Brown band at Rick's Cafe right before they hit it big.
So we're actually going this weekend to a venue that Eric Church has played, and they're very vocal about how Eric Church played here. It's called the Cancun Cantina in Hanover, Maryland.
Yeah. There's some people that I know that's been there. I've heard that place before. Addie that's been on my show, she's been to that place.
Yeah, it looks like a smaller room, but it's the most northern that Trey's ever played, which is really exciting because it's been the southeastern thing. But I think it's also, I haven't looked to check. It might be one of the first shows in the state of Maryland since the shutdown.
Oh wow, dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, because Maryland's northeast, like that's still. I mean, it's opening, but it's not what we're used to down here.
Oh no, I saw Ohio June 2nd. Ohio lifts everything. So Ohio's another state that's they lift masks, all that stuff today. Oh, as of June 2nd. So and Illinois is flirting with it. I heard July 4th is when the governor wants to push for it in Illinois. You got to look into that place I sent you about. We got to get Trey out there sometime. That Blarney Island, dude.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
My wife's like, yeah, that place.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we were out there. We've been out there a couple of times. Lewis Price plays out there a lot. And
Lewis played our round a couple weeks ago. He's a good dude.
Phenomenal, dude. Yeah, just phenomenal. I'm glad he's finally getting some credit a little bit. But yeah, dude. Yeah, we ran over a little bit. I was just looking at the time.
How far over are we? About 16 minutes?
Yeah, ain't bad.
Isn't that what's great about podcasting though? You don't gotta, you don't, it's not radio where you have to talk for like, where you get a 20-second hit or like a 2-minute thing. And like, you're pressing for time. You're like, oh man, I got to go to the bathroom. Where's the nearest Metallica song or nearest, where's Freebird? Where's the Eagles Hotel California live for 8 minutes so I can go use the bathroom? We don't got to worry about that. We do.
Yeah, I never had that problem where like in the middle of the podcast, I had to go pee yet. Yeah, you did that. You did that a couple weeks ago, and I'm sitting over here because, like, dude, my house, like, you can hear everything. That's crazy because I don't hear the kids right now. Normally, I can hear the kids bounce around upstairs. I got these little sound tiles I try to shove everywhere, but I don't know. I'm sure when people listen back to these on the streaming sites, they're like, "Oh yeah, but there's just kids again bouncing around," or someone flushes the toilet, and you can hear it behind me. It's like,
oh, that's great. That's just great ambiance, you know.
We got rules. We got rules at the house. Like my parents will watch the kids. They'll come out. Like you can't flush the toilet. You gotta have the heat off.
That's awesome.
That's how you can record everything. And
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, it's a full house here, so. But. Oh, I thought you were pointing at something over there. I was like, "Oh, where are you pointing at?" So yeah, before we wrap up, dude, yeah, especially going back to the whole pizza thing. I'm trying to think of this, what has better. But if you ever get, I mean, kind of East Coast, go through West Virginia, and if you get through the Panhandle, you gotta hit me up, and I'm gonna tell you this place, and it's the craziest pizza you'll ever have, but you're gonna like it. So they only cook the dough and the sauce, and then when it comes out of the oven they throw the cheese and pepperoni on it. That's the only way you can get it. You can either get cheese or pepperoni. They don't have any other toppings, but they throw it on cold, and the goal is you got to eat it before the cheese melts. So everybody in this parking lot trying to eat it and shit, dude. It's some of the best stuff in the world, but it's just little squares. It comes with these little squares, and the crust is all nice and hard, dude. If you ever get that way, I'm gonna make sure
you'll have to say it. We're doing a festival in West Virginia on in September, so we might have to make a. So as the TM, I can control lunch and dinner stops, so we might have to make that happen.
Where Nicky T is doing his event, it's probably like 15 minutes, or not where he's doing his event, but the Blame My Roots thing, it's like 15 minutes from there. Yeah, like 15, 20 minutes from there, which is phenomenal that he got a whole night. Dude, that was badass that when they dropped that. That was cool.
Raise Rowdy, changing the world, man.
Dude, they are. And honestly, it's people like you, Raise Rowdy, and that are doing these things, I think are changing music, in a way, and for the better, dude. And pushing, people are not pushing, but people are actually getting the chance to hear people like Muscat and other bands on Right-Arounds or podcast and this and that. And are like, oh hell, this is real music. This is what I really
something like that. But it's at the same time, and I love all my music business friends that went to Belmont, and I call it the B word. You know, if you got the B word in Nashville, if you have Belmont attached to you, chances are you're going to be all right in this town. But there's a lot of us that have moved here. I'm a radio guy. Nicky, you're a radio guy. Nicky T, freaking his day job. I don't know if he's told you. Has he told you the joke of when people ask, "What do you do for a day job?" Has he told you that?
I never dug into it with him. No.
So it's like he does like logistics and stuff. But one of his accounts is Olive Garden. So he'll say to somebody like, you ever been to Olive Garden? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, you like the breadsticks? They're like, yeah. They're like, they ever run out? And he's like, no. It's like, you're welcome. That's what Nicky T says. So he's just a concert lover and just so passionate about this stuff. And so am I. Like we're not what the industry's what the industry's been like looking for and been hiring for forever. You know, I have a couple books and I've listened to a couple podcasts to like learn a thing or two a little bit, but I'm not this groomed music business person, but here I am in the music business, and there's so many other people like that I know where it's got to feel like a little bit of a breath of fresh air, if I had to guess, you know.
I mean, Eric Church has a song called "Break It Kind of Guy," and honestly, I think that's what is going on right now. Is they're breaking what has been working in Nashville has stopped working, and it needed to be broken. And I think now they are, like you said, they're going for these people that actually have the hearts and not the brains for the music, and they're actually going to people that were fans and actually are passionate about it and said, "Oh, this is what logistically this is the way we should do this and that."
Yeah, I'm hoping the politics goes away. That's my big thing is hoping the politics goes away, because that used to drive me nuts in radio was stuff like that. I mean, it's always going to be there. It's there in any freaking industry. But and maybe it's just how I am. Sometimes I feel. You ever watch Entourage?
Oh yeah.
Remember the crazy director in Entourage?
Mm-hmm.
when he used to call E a suit. Sometimes I feel like that guy. I'm like, oh, these suits, I shouldn't feel that way. I have no business. Nobody's ever done anything to me. But I get this mentality sometimes where I'm like, oh, these suits, And I know Eric Church has talked about that in some songs
Oh,
before
hell yeah,
too.
dude. All the time.
He's very much a, hey, I'm gonna do me, which I respect the shit out of.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Any artist. And I see that now with Trey. Too. Because he's able to do all of his music and it's phenomenal. People are loving his music, dude. So I love what you guys are doing. The whole camp over there, you guys are definitely on.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, bro. Love what you do as well, man.
Yeah, dude. You're an inspiration. Your show and everything else has inspired me. I've got down to see Nikki T's events a couple times. I need to stay for a Tuesday next time. Check one of yours out for sure.
Yeah, dude. I'd have, dude. We'd if you were to stay down, I don't know if you'll be able to, or you don't drink anymore, but usually we run out of Busch Lights when we don't have them on Tuesdays. If Nikki T's event, if freaking Rowdy on the Row, which I love those guys, as you know, if they're there 2 days before us, they're out of Busch Light until Thursday because the truck doesn't come until Thursday.
Hey, so Thursday, and start ordering in advance. Be like, hey,
because then everybody comes in the round, and all my songwriter buddies are like, we don't want to, we want the $3 Busch lattes, and I'm like, sorry guys, Nikki T and Ray's Rowdy drank them all,
They clean us out, man.
They drink all the beers. They're very on brand.
I've been trying to leave nice, generous tips here and there whenever I go there. Just I don't drink anymore, dude. So I'll be like, all right, if your bill was like $22, I'll tip her $20.
Dude, have you gotten into the habit of buying drinks for people?
No, not yet. So I almost did the last time I was there. Who was I? I was talking to somebody. Oh, I think it was Ashland. I was talking to Ashland Craft. And I was gonna grab her one, and I got sidetracked or whatever. But yeah, I have not yet. I've not.
Bro, so Trey loves to do that. If you're out with Trey Lewis and you drink, he's gonna get you hammered. He lives like he loves to do that. So I've started doing that. Where I took my roommate Luke out the other night to his first whiskey jam ever, and we went whiskey jam, the losers to Red Door, and I looked at my my debit card statement the next day. I was like, "What did I do?" Like,
like you're drinking again.
Like shit's expensive, So you gotta be careful with that. But no, it is. I appreciate you leaving the tips for the bartenders.
Yeah, dude.
As a service industry guy, it's awesome.
No, I'm normally the guy that has the other stuff. It's like, hey, if you don't want to drink, come hang out with me for a little bit.
You'd love our round. Then we're big advocates for that. So.
Oh, dude, I wanted your 420 round. I wanted to get down there for that.
That shit was wild, dude. So I don't know. You probably didn't hear this. I might get some shit for saying it, but because we are live. But we had a group of guys light up on stage, and we had to confiscate it, and it wasn't Delta 8. Or we'll say it was. We say it was Delta. It was Delta 8, but it was like inside the bar. And,
so they're starting to get like that here in Chicago, where they're gonna start allowing that this summer. So we have like 2 or 3 lounges starting to open up, dude. So, and I heard Oklahoma has 420 friendly bars too. So,
bro, Oklahoma is very 420 friendly. We just did some time out there. It was awesome.
I haven't been there yet. We're going to Durant in like 3 weeks to see Church.
Yeah, how many Eric Church shows you going to on this tour? How many? Is it 10?
I'm hoping to hit my 200 show this tour. So
what are you at right now?
165.
Bro, what the fuck? 35?
So well, I got 20 planned, and I'm gonna try. This is what I'm looking at right now. My son he's been to like the acoustic fan club things. He hasn't been to my oldest hasn't been to an actual show. Well, Church is playing Madison Square Garden on his 8th birthday, like the day of his 8th birthday. And that's the last night of the tour. And I have a chance to make that my 200th show. So I was like, my 200th show, Madison Square Garden on my son's 8th birthday. I got to do it. So we bought 4 pit tickets. So my wife and I and the 2 boys are all going to go to Madison Square Garden. But I don't know how many shows I'm going to do yet. I got
Parents of the Year.
So we're going to try to take the boys to that show. But we have a year to plan for it. And with the way I can work around my work, like I can make it work where he plays Fridays, Saturdays. I can make it work where I work my 40 hours before that. So I can take off, do the 2 days, and be back home. And now that I don't drink, dude, I can leave after a show, drive 3-4 hours, and be back to the house.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to drive, ain't it?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, what I was gonna say too with Eric Church, I mean, that's a guy that I respect you going to that many shows a year because every
show.
well, it's never the same show, which is so insane as a guy now who works in that lifestyle of shows and like you get into these like it just speaks to Eric Church, his crew, his band, just how talented they are, where they can crank out a different set list every
Oh,
night.
yeah, dude. Yeah, we have a Facebook
Wild.
group that's just for people who've seen over 100 shows of Church, and there's a good bit of people on there. And I heard Keith Urban has a group that have seen over 100 shows of his too. That he does a bunch of stuff. That's just insane when you think about it. I got into researching one day, and I found this guy. He's actually an old basketball player. I think his name was Bill Waldron or something. He's been to 500 Grateful Dead shows. I was like, dude, that's just impressive as hell. But the Grateful Dead, they're the same way, dude. Different set list.
Trey's manager, our buddy Alex, who's on the road with us. He's a big Widespread Panic fan. He's been to like over 100 Panic shows.
Dude, yeah, it's just easy.
The guy who I used to follow around or I used to go to a lot was and this is like 2013. About when I graduated high school up to when I moved to Nashville was Brantley Gilbert. I was just big on that because I grew up on the rock stuff. So I saw BG a lot in those earlier, which is funny. You showed the Tucker picture and the Luke picture. That was actually in Portland, Maine. My senior year of high school.
Luke opened for all of them.
That was when it was Luke, Tucker, and Brantley at an arena. They had just started doing arena tours. It was Luke and Tucker's first time being in arenas, and we went up and did that. So yeah,
I was supposed to play the arena here in Chicago, the same tour, but it didn't sell good, so they moved it to like the smaller theater, and it was wild because they didn't know how to change the tickets, so they just made the entire theater general admission, and it was just insane, dude.
That's awesome. Hell
but yeah, dude. I definitely saw a lot of when I was researching a lot of pictures with Brantley, and he's another one, dude, that I love. Like I went. Well, one of the last Raised Rowdy rounds they had Brian Davis there. I know Brian Davis does a lot with Brantley and wrote a lot of stuff with. Well, hearing those songs, those stories was just phenomenal.
Yeah, man. We had Josh Phillips actually last night at our round, and he played 2 songs that are going to be on Brantley's next record that are coming, which are really cool.
So he was there. It was him, and Brian Davis. I forgot who else was in the round. The round I saw, or Heath Sanders. Is Heath Sanders, Josh Phillips, and
Heath is a badass, man. Big fan of Heath Sanders.
I'm trying to get him on the show. I'm gonna get him eventually because I know he's a diehard Church fan. I love that because seeing so many Church shows and watching Church for so many years, and I can talk to these people that Church has influenced, and it's cool to kind of see how he's influenced people. And then even now with Thomas Rhett name dropping him in a couple songs, it's pretty badass to see that. All right, hey, my guy's actually influencing other guys now.
Yeah, Trey. A little spoiler alert for you with Trey too. Trey's a big time Trey Lewis or big time Eric Church guy.
I got it on my notes. I have the same like the notes I sent over. I had all mine done up for Trey for last week, and one of my last ones was make sure I get him to a front row Eric Church show because I heard somewhere I heard Trey Lewis say that he wanted to be front. Or I read somewhere his dream was to be front row Eric Church, and I wrote on there. I'm like, if we can make this happen, we'll do it.
Hell yeah. You'd be the guy to do it. You'd be the guy to do it with.
Dude, if there's ever a time where Trey's off on a Friday or Saturday and he's around the venue, let me know. If I'm there, we'll make sure he gets up front.
Yeah, dude, that'd be sick. We don't have many Fridays and Saturdays off anymore. It's kind of tough. We're just gone. Which is great, but it's cool to be back in touring again.
You guys have been so damn busy, dude. And
dude, I think this week will be like show 52 or 53 of
December, right?
Since December 1st.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that. It's something we're very proud of and very fortunate to be doing.
Oh yeah, no. So you guys did a lot of Texas though, right off the bat, right? Because that was the first state that really blew up.
Yeah, so we did our first run was Statesboro, Georgia, which was the Bloom. The first run that first weekend was actually scheduled to be cover shows. So they were meant to be 4-hour shows, and then we had to restructure the deals on them and restructure the shows. And then that was the week that the song came out. And then the following week we were in Tyler, Texas, and Royce City, Texas, which we've been to Tyler, Texas a couple times now. And
how good does that make you guys? Well, Trey and yourself feel to restructure a show from a cover show to
So for me, it really didn't mean a whole lot. So
Yeah.
I've only known Trey since July,
Yeah.
but the guys in the band too, I got to give the shout. I don't know if any of them are watching. I saw Trey Bonner was in here earlier, and Trey Bonner's been with Trey Lewis. All these Treys, which I've learned the name Trey just means you're the third. It's what Southerners do when you're the third. So Trey is really Lewis Thomason the third, and Trey Bonner is really the third of his name. His last name's Graham.
I never knew that.
So so they've been together for a long time. And Trey used to play Mexican restaurants. He used to play barbecue joints. Like he'd be that guy in the corner that would just be sitting there playing guitar, nobody paying attention. And he did that for a long time. And Trey Bonner used to do content for him for a very, very, very basically free pay structure back in the day. And it's cool to see those two still working together. And then Terry Adams and Matt McElwain, who Terry's the guitar player. I joke that he looks like Charlie Starr on Lots of Substances, because he's wild. I love Terry. One of the smartest dudes you will meet. He breaks my balls all the time. He's nuts. But he's been with Trey for 7 years. They met at an open mic night in Birmingham, Alabama. They're both from Birmingham. And then Matt McElwain, I think, has been in the picture for about 5 years. And then Alex Cape, Trey's manager, and Devontae Hutchins, our lighting designer. The whole crew, with the exception of myself and our guitar player, our bass player Mitch Goshi's been out for a while too with Trey, done the cover thing. But myself and Ben Miller are the only two guys that haven't been like in the picture for like a long time. So these guys,
like a family though.
Yeah, we're walking into a family, and it really is a family. And I'm very, very fortunate and lucky, and I'm grateful for the Muscadine guys for teaching me how to be on the road, and for being cool. Honestly, like I'm still very tight with those boys, and I talk to them very often, and I'm still in all those group chats and everything. With me moving from there to TM and sell some merch for Trey, it's been really cool. But those guys, like less than a year ago, it's funny, we just played Columbia, South Carolina, and last time Trey and those boys played Columbia, South Carolina was at it was at the Tin Roof there. It was a gig that they'd been playing for 3 years. Once a month, they go out to South Carolina and they play a 4-hour cover gig. So it was, I want to say it was in the fall. So I had met Trey. I'd known Trey. Like the song had like just started popping up on the internet. And him and the guys, Mitch, Terry and Matt, and I forget if there was another guitar player there. They slept in the van that we drive right now to gigs. They slept in the van because they couldn't afford to get a hotel. Dude. They slept in the van. That was less than a year ago in the same van that we're driving now. And we just played a ticketed show at the 2,000 cap venue next door to that Tin Roof. Dude. Which is, it's just wild to see. I mean, you talk about Zydeco. We played Zydeco, I think, in January, February, somewhere in there. And Trey had been opening shows there for a while. And
I listened to his. I know he was always played there, and that was kind of like his goal. Did it sell out? Or
It probably oversold, honestly, between you, me, and whoever's watching this and listening to this. But
I worked for somebody. You can get him.
He used to be psyched about playing the downstairs room where 10 people would show up, 15 people would show up. And now you got hundreds of people. You got people trying to buy tickets at the door that can't get in because it's sold out. Like it's in that line in Whole Lot of Nothing where they say there's a hometown boy playing a sold out show. Yeah. When we play a sold out show, and it's a moment. It's a moment that him and Terry have. It's a moment that Terry and Matt, like the whole crew has, because they've all been doing this for so long. And you talk about ups and downs and all that, and for them to finally be getting their shot, it's really cool to sit back and watch them enjoy all the hard work and dedication they've been putting in. Because
man,
people probably think Trey just popped off on TikTok and we're out there playing a song about dicks and butt fuck.
Yeah, he's working his ass off.
It's a lot more than that, and it's really cool to see that, because I didn't I joined with Gary and Charlie in 2019. They were already very established and had been out headlining. I mean, they had sold out Joe's on Weed when I had seen them. It was like the second or third time going there. They had played the Smoke Out that year.
I'm trying to think if you were with them. I don't know if you were with them last time.
The Smoke Out was just before I joined up with them.
So I saw them, they were on tour with Kip, and they played
just before me. The acoustic tour.
Yeah, the acoustic tour. I saw them. That was the last time I saw Muscadine. Was on that show. So that was a hell of a good show too.
Yeah, that was just that was right before me because I was with them from July 2019 till I guess December of 2020. You know, so I was with them for a little over a year and a half. But that's 2020. I only got to do maybe 15 shows with them.
That was a wild year.
Yeah, it was rough, man. Me and Boudreaux were together for a lot of quarantine up in Delaware. He'd come up with me. Because he didn't want to be down near his grandparents, and Nashville was in a very weird spot.
Yeah.
And we would just see, we were like, oh, maybe we'll get out in April. Oh, maybe we'll get out in May. Oh, maybe June, maybe July. And it just seeing, it was tough to just see all of our runs because we had our calendar for the whole year. We were going to be doing a lot of shows, and just to see that all get taken away from you was tough, you know?
Yeah. Just you know, from the fans' perspective and not having any live music, like from a mental health standpoint, I mean, that would just drove me crazy because that's where, I mean, I go to concerts to kind of let out emotions and when I reconnect with people and everything else, I mean, that's my getaway. So not having that anymore was really rough last year, but it's all coming back and it's going to be a glorious thing. So, all right, man, we're going to wrap up. But before we wrap up, I play a game every week called the Hot Seat. What we do, a 60-second, I throw a little sound bed in the back, and I ask you kind of 10 random questions. One of the questions you already answered was your first concert. You said Tim McGraw. So
my bad, yeah.
Yeah, you're all good. You're bad.
I knew that question was coming too. That's the problem.
What was the first CD you ever
owned? Kenny Chesney, No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problems.
Hell yeah. What's your hometown famous for?
Ooh, hometown famous for, I guess technically. So we have a very large Jewish population. I'm not Jewish. I'm Protestant, but like we host the Maccabee or the Maccabi games a bunch. So we have a lot of that. And I think Paramount was originally based there back in the day. Paramount Pictures or whatever.
All right, man. The strangest thing you've ever seen in the middle of the road?
In the middle of the road, like while we're out, like.
Just anywhere. Anytime you've ever seen anything strange in the middle of the road.
Oh, Nashville, the crackheads and the homeless in Nashville, which I feel bad, but you see some shit.
Nelson said a naked guy or something.
Yeah. I mean, that was probably in Florida, and Nelson may have been that naked guy. We don't know.
That's what I was saying. Did you just look at yourself, man? No. First band or artist T-shirt you ever wore or ever owned?
Ooh, probably a Brantley Gilbert shirt.
Oh hell yeah, dude! All right. What's one thing people buy that you think is a waste of money?
Jeez. I mean, alcohol would be the easy one, but I think, I mean, I'm not big on shoes. Like I'm wearing a pair of Crocs right now. I think people like Nikki T that pay $200, $300 for Yeezys is a little much, you know?
It's crazy, dude. Insane. I think $40-$50, I'm good. Some New Balance, I'm all right with that.
Dad shoes, baby. Let's go.
So yeah, hell yeah, dude. So other than, I got to take this off the table. Other than Buc-ee's, what has been the cleanest bathroom you ever found on the road?
Ooh.
I asked this question multiple times. I'm always getting Buc-ee's. I'm like, all right, we're throwing that out the window.
All right, well, Buc-ee's. But I guess I would have to go. I would have to go with my the hometown version of nothing's Buc-ee's, but probably a Wawa.
All right, okay.
Wawas tend to be pretty clean.
What's the most annoying bill you have to pay?
Most annoying bill. See, I'm 26. I'm lucky. I got parents. My mom's still iffy. Still kind of. I'm like half in the nest, so I'm a lucky boy.
Hey, I love you, Mom. Covered, so I'm good.
Yeah, same here, bro. Same here. I was gonna say cell phone, but I have it covered. Probably health insurance and dental insurance because I just started paying that.
Yeah, okay, and that's good because I mean you don't have a. I mean you're not getting it through the gig, so you got to pay it on your own. Yeah,
music.
Yeah. So the oddest job you've ever taken to earn $1?
Ooh. I used to clean bathrooms at town parks. I used to do that when I was in college.
All right, and then the last one, we'll wrap up. I don't know if it's on your bucket list. So something maybe in the music industry, something that you still want to accomplish that you want to reach, or just what's on your path, man? What's a goal you want to come across?
I mean, I didn't really come down here with a lot of goals. My goal was to work in radio, and that kind of fell through very quickly. But I'd love to just, I'm hoping just to be with Trey for the long haul, and just watching my friends succeed, watching Trey go out and do what he does, watching Muscadine go out and do what they do, watching all my friends win, and to get to be a part of that. I'd love to roll up. Love to roll up to arenas or amphitheaters one day with this crew that I'm with, or see Gary and Charlie do that at a headlining level. I think that'd be really cool.
And that's another thing, like going back to church. I mean, just talking about that, a lot of his crew, a lot of his people he's had, like his tour manager, as far back as I can remember, I think it's been Todd Bunch. It's been the same guy. I mean, and Todd's phenomenal. And he's always kept the same. I mean, his old merch guy is actually his personal assistant right now, his right-hand man. So not the one that bit anybody, the guy that came after the biter.
Oh boy. And I guess another goal too would be to never have to work a job where it feels like work again. Because I haven't had to do that in a little while now, and life's been pretty freaking good.
Hell yeah, dude. I tell everybody I sell weed for a living, so
hey, there you go.
I do a lot more, but yeah, I mean, definitely going to work and helping people and educating people on something that I'm passionate about, for me, does not feel like work. I mean, when I was doing radio, it didn't feel like work because I was passionate about that. I loved it. So
yeah,
that's why I love it, man. Dude, thank you so much for spending so much time with me tonight. I did not think we were gonna go 40 minutes over. My mom's
bro.
What the hell, dude?
Two radio guys with no breaks and no news breaks and no weather beds or anything like that, bro. We can talk. We don't got a PD telling us to quiet down. You know,
yeah, right. I kind of do, but she was kind of be quiet tonight. So
hey, she's a true sport. We love you.
She didn't jump in and be like, all right, you're way over time.
Nah, it was
cutting it close to the kids' bedtime.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on kids' bedtime. All right.
I'm like 8:45. I'll go 8:45.
The old wrap it up signal, you know.
So normally I go to about 9. If I like do the after show and everything, it's like 8:59. I'm like, all right, we'll do 9, and then we'll go up and say goodnight to the kids. But there's no after show tonight, so I was like, hey, we go a little over, have our own little after show.
Sweet, hell yeah, dude, that's awesome.
So, but yeah, dude. Before I let you go, if you guys want to look up in our comment section or in our the main post, you'll find all his links are posted there for In the Round podcast. Follow Matt wherever you can. Dude, before I let you go, do you have any final words at all?
No, just thanks for having me, and happy to see you out doing what you're doing, bro. You're killing it, and you're doing it while being up in Illinois, and then you come down to Nashville, and just know you got some good friends down here. So whenever y'all come down here, hit us up if I'm in town, or if not, you got Nikki and a slew of other people, and we love you and really appreciate what you're doing, brother.
Appreciate it, man. And same to you, dude. Keep going. Honestly, like I said, your story when I was researching this and seeing you kind of go the same path that I chose with the radio and everything else, was inspirational to me to see where you've ended up. I mean, gone from a sports radio DJ in New York City to tour manager for Trey Lewis. It's pretty big steps. So honestly, keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing phenomenal work and you're inspiring people. If you don't know it, you're doing it. And
thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So appreciate it, man. Take it easy, and I'm gonna see you soon, dude. You'll be up here soon. I'll see you.
Hey, I'll shoot you a message. I'll let you know. That's all a little top secret info, but I'll let you know we're heading up that way.
All right, dude. We'll talk soon.
Later, brother.
Hi, man. All right, guys. That was fun. Let's see if I could get this. See if I can get you back on. Yeah, I did. All right, let me mute you before we'll go. You're over here freezing. You're like, oh no. What?
I'm wrapped up in my hoodie.
I know it's cold down here tonight. So how you doing over there?
I'm good.
Is that your longest show yet? No.
You
did a 3-hour show. Yeah, you did a 3
Heart
hour.
and Soul. Yeah, the Heart and Soul.
That was fun, man. I could have probably talked to Matt for at least an hour or so.
Oh, for sure. Super nice.
We got through my notes. So I was just like, hey, let's just talk about anything. There's so much stuff.
I felt like I was listening to my husband talk. He sounds exactly like you.
Oh yeah, we came
like your same background. Everything you guys want to do, everything that you're doing.
I don't know if I'd want to be a tour manager though. I don't know if I could do that.
Be away from home.
I like being on the promoting side and everything else. Like, well, I mean, I wouldn't mind like doing like being on tour, doing stuff like that. But I don't know about a tour manager.
Yeah, it's cool.
There's a lot of responsibilities and stuff too.
Well, good for him. He was super fun.
That's a badass. I love him.
Yeah,
love the guy to death.
Awesome.
So I love what he's doing for songwriters. Love what he's doing in Nashville. And I mean, I don't know how he juggles it all. And on top of it, being a tour manager too. So, all right.
Cool.
Let's go ahead and put you back down there. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I don't want to click anything. All right, guys. But thank you so much for joining us tonight on episode 83. We will get episode 82 rescheduled shortly. I'm going to talk with them tomorrow and see what we can do for a date. But I enjoyed having Matt Burrill on. What a journey Matt's been on. It's just been crazy. And I feel like he's only getting started. I can't wait to see what accomplishments he's going to have in 2021 and going forward, and just see what he's going to do on a personal level. So I wish him nothing but the best. And yeah, like I said, can't wait to see him. But we'll see you guys next week. I cannot wait. It's going to be a good one. Don't miss this one.
The Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver.